going to talk about the idea of the warrior. In particular, let's talk about the purpose of the Indigenous warrior. To be able to speak about this, we really have to go way back. And when I say that, I'm talking about we have to go back to the beginning. And that means we're going to be able to talk about the beginning of the world. Because the world, as it existed, has existed in a condition of order and purpose. What I mean by that is, think how old the world is. And it was allowed to continue with its existence because it's following a particular order that ensures renewal, rebirth, and continues to go on. Now, within this type of existence, we're understanding that there is natural laws that have to take place in order for the continued existence of the world to take place. This means such things like the sun will come up tomorrow. We'll see some seasons every year. There's a natural order or pattern of how seasons, the growth of vegetables that we eat, and the migrations and habitations of animals. There's all a particular order about how nature does things. Now, we have to understand that this order supersedes us as humans. This order has come before us. This natural order has taken a very strong entrenchment on how it does things. When the world is out of whack, there is a condition of disharmony, of disorder. And when that happens, we see all kinds of problems. A lot of times we talk about things like natural disasters and such. We can understand that as humans, we can create disorder within the world itself. And that's kind of what we're coming to today in a modern society. Because of our interference through pollution, toxins, the entire industrial project, we're understanding that we're causing a disorder within this harmony or balance that has existed for billions of years with the world. Now, we have to understand that we are not apart from nature. We're not in a disconnect where somehow we are something very different than nature. We are a part of this world. We are a part of nature. So if we want to live in that balance and in that harmony, we have to be able to live within the natural laws that ensures that balance and harmony, and ensures everything continues through rebirth and renewal. Now, when we talk about natural law, we have to understand that there is a concept of justice around natural law. And what I mean by that is there is a concept of moral righteousness, or what is morally right when we talk about natural law. And that would mean for us that we're not talking about what is politically right or what is legally right. These are all artificial, man-made constructs. We're talking about what is morally right according to natural law. And this is where it becomes important that we start to talk about the Indigenous warrior. Because as we had said, as humans, we can disobey or create disruption and disorder within natural law. We have a particular power to be able to do that. If you look at other species in the world, that's almost something that's impossible to them. But as humans, we not only can we do it, we actually have done it. And we continue to do it now, where we're creating an entire disruption and disorder around natural law. Warriors, Indigenous warriors, understand that their purpose is to be able to protect natural law, to uphold natural law. And when we say uphold natural law, we're really talking about natural justice. And that is the concepts and principles by which our people, Indigenous people, have lived since time immemorial. Now, I can actually probably talk about a whole bunch of different Native nations, and we have a very common understanding of a principle that we refer to as sacred responsibility. And what we mean by that is, in the beginning of our people as a people, the Creator, and in some of us we say the word creation, we treat it as a verb, as a life force around us, as opposed to a personified, an individual, like the concept of, or the European concept of God being a person. A lot of our people actually believe it's creation, it's a life force. Now, we had learned from the life force around us. We have learned by observation of nature. We have learned that we have a sacred responsibility to the next 7 generations. And what we mean by that is we have to be able to protect the natural order, the natural law of the world, in order to be able to hand over this world to the next generations. If we're not going to abide by these natural laws that existed way before we were ever born as a species, then we have to understand that the future for our generations is in jeopardy. If they cannot inherit the world, at least, at the very least, in the condition that we have got it, if somehow it's degraded, then we have to understand that we're putting them in a position where the ability to sustain themselves has become diminished. Now, warriors are in a situation where, because natural law is being violated at such an incredible rate, and with an incredible amount of destruction as a consequence, that we are seeing an emergence of this role of protecting natural law. So as Indigenous warriors, we have to be able to say that we are going to look back to our sacred responsibility, that responsibility to take care of the world around you for the next 7 generations, and understand that taking care of implies protection. Taking care of means being able to handle this in a steward-like way. And we hear a lot of discussion around environmental stewardship. From an Indigenous point of view, we have to take that very, very seriously. And in the position of stewardship, what you're saying is you're managing something on behalf of somebody else. Now, that kind of fits in what we're saying. Because as stewards, we are managing the world right now, the natural world, on behalf of our next 7 generations. But if we hand that over to them in our management of the next 7 generations, our management of the world, and it's handed over in such a way that it's been degraded, that we allowed damage and destruction to happen during our lifetime when we had to take responsibility for it, then we are forsaken that sacred responsibility. And we're not the ones that are going to suffer as much as the next 7 generations. So as warriors, we have to understand that this emerging role that has placed more emphasis on the concept of protecting Mother Earth, we have to understand that that is going to imply the real defense of our territories. It's going to imply the real protection of all those resources within our territories. When I say territories, I'm not talking about the Canadian or the American reserve or reservation system. Those are artificially imposed borders. I'm talking about your true traditional territory of your nation, because that was the borders by which our ancestors had understood they had a responsibility to protect and manage. Until we uphold and embrace that sacred responsibility, we're not going to understand the fact that our 7 generations, or the next 7 generations, will suffer. They will suffer an incredible misery because we failed to take action, because we turned a blind eye to our sacred responsibility. So warriors are in a position now where they need to take on an incredible, powerful role of confronting and resisting Western colonization, which is the foundation of the corporate structure that we understand is part of the industrialization of our lands, and which in turn becomes the destruction of our lands. So we are in a position now where we have to start thinking about really defending and protecting against these destructions if we're going to uphold that sacred responsibility.
The following program is brought to you by United Indigenous Nations, products of Native America.